We are live, folks. Here we are at Comics Spot, interview number 733, and I finally got somebody, oh my gosh, who is just the most fabulous entertainer you've ever heard of, Bob Greenberg. He's over there in the other square. Oh, you're going to love this interview. I want to give a nod to my sponsor, ahabroadway.org. They're doing a bang up job in New York City and on Zoom, helping children, adults who are seniors, and military veterans to learn comedy, improv, and other stuff that I forget right now because I'm looking over at the other square. It's far more interesting, don't you think? Look at him. He steals every show. Oh my gosh. But go to ahabroadway.org and find out what they're all about because they're my sponsor. Today, this
Aha Broadway?
ahabroadway.org. Yes, absolutely. Today, I'd like to introduce you by saying the intro that Bob Greenberg gave me of him. And here it is. Bob Greenberg has performed at the Triad, the Friars Club, the Lambs, the Metropolitan Room, and the Gotham Comedy Club. Get a load of this next paragraph. He has featured on Saturday Night Live, Letterman, Conan, The Next Best Thing, Primetime Live. Next paragraph. He has had roles in Vinyl on HBO, The Characters on Netflix, and Law of Order, folks. He starred as Morty in the national tour, Old Jews Telling Jokes, and here he is for you, whether you have your pants on or not, Bob Greenberg. Woo!
Thank you.
Hi, Bob.
And currently I can be seen in Tango Shalom at your local movie theater. That's Tango Shalom. See it at the movies.
Wow.
Tango Shalom. It'll be available actually at the end of October on MOD, VOD, IUD, LSD, COD. You'll get to see it at the end of October, but you can see it in the theaters now.
No way. Wonderful.
Yes.
What's that movie about?
Well, I play the best friend of the lead character who has to do the tango to win some money. He's in a bind. He has to do the tango. It's a competition. Problem. He's a Hasidic Jew. Sorry. He's a, oh, hold on. Hard to say. He's a, I do it right from the here. He's a Hasidic Jew. And he can't touch a woman, you know, that isn't his wife. So this is a problem. And you'll see what happens. And it's with the late Joseph Bologna, Renee Taylor, who's still with us, of course, Lady Kazan. And yeah, it's a wonderful movie.
Wow.
Tango Shalom. Yes. Yes.
Lady Kazan. Oh my gosh. Bob Greenberg, you're tearing up Hollywood.
Well, New York City, it's an independent film, and those things take time. And that's why, unfortunately, Joe Bologna is not with us. I think he passed away in 2018. But we started shooting, I think, around maybe 2015, 2016. You know, you shoot a day here, a day there, a year later, you shoot another day. You know, that's how they raise enough money to shoot, and then you have to wait and raise more money. And but the film is done.
Wow.
And out in the theaters.
I can't wait to watch it. You got a pretty good role in it. I'm telling you, best friend of the lead. Holy
yes,
Tito.
Yes, I'm the Jewish John Candy. Yes.
That's so cool.
The best friend. I actually put on 100 pounds to play this role. I can't take it off, but I put it on for the role. That's the kind of actor I
am. Yes, all for the job, you know. Who you don't want to fake it like you put on weight. You want to really do it.
Yeah, no, those pillows don't work.
Let's talk about getting through the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
How did it affect your family and loved ones and friends? And
Uh,
how's it going?
well, thank God nobody got sick. Um, no, we did, under the circumstances, we did okay. Um, we hunkered down. My daughter hunkered down where she was, and we did all right. As a matter of fact, I got very much involved in clapping because we care at 7 o'clock, and we're still doing it here at Manhattan Plaza at 7 o'clock. It's like a dozen of us, yeah. So it's pretty exciting. As a matter of fact, we were on the news because we were in that parade, for the essential workers. They had us right behind the nurse who was the first one to get the vaccination. So we were right behind her, and we clapped because we can. We're still doing it. It used to be you could hear all around clapping, drums, saxophone, whatever, and now it's just us.
Oh my gosh.
Last of the Mohicans. Yeah.
Let's go way back in your life. When you were growing up, did you have siblings, and what did your siblings and parents and neighbors think of you? You're not normal.
I'm not normal. Well, it's interesting. I didn't have I was kind of, I don't know if I was, well, maybe I was slow in school, or maybe I just wasn't that interested, but I couldn't read really, like in third grade. And my sister took me to see a Jerry Lewis movie. It was Don't Raise the Bridge, Lower the Water at the Avenue U Cinema in Brooklyn. And we had time to kill because unlike my father would go into the middle of a movie, he'd spoil the whole picture for us. He felt it was always going around and around, so it didn't matter. But anyway, my sister didn't. She would wait till the show was over and then wait for intermission and go in the beginning. So we're killing time, go into a bookstore, my sister and I'm in, like I said, about third grade or so. And I see a book, a biography called Mr. Laurel and Mr. Hardy. And I see the cover and I like the cover. And I asked her if we buy this, maybe she could read it to me. And summer's approaching. She said, sure. So she starts reading me the book, every day a little bit. And then she finally gets a little tired. She says, why don't you read it? She gives it to me. Now, I couldn't even read Dick and Jane, but somehow, because I wanted to continue reading this book, she claims later that she did this on purpose, perhaps. I start to read this book. So I go back to school. I guess I was going from second to third grade or whatever. I now have an adult reading level. It was like bizarre, and I was constantly asking about words I didn't understand. And so Laurel and Hardy taught me to read.
How
I wasn't normal.
Not at all normal. Now you grew up, I'm 70 years old, and you're not as old as me, but when you were growing up, it wasn't necessarily avant-garde to be funny.
Well, I mean, I was funny in the playground. I did actually the same act I do now. I did Alfred Hitchcock impressions. I did Curly impressions. I did Laurel and Hardy impressions. I did Abbott and Costello impressions. And unlike today with younger people, where you have to explain who Jackie Gleason is and things like that, in those days, that was our TV. If you were a young person, you came home from school and you watched the Three Stooges and Abbott and Costello. And Abbott and Costello had a movie on Sunday, and Laurel and Hardy were on, and there was March of the Wooden Soldiers. This was our life, And I would stay up to watch Alfred Hitchcock. That was on late. But I used to stay up. So I was doing a very topical act in those days. Now it's more nostalgic. But for the 50 plus crowd, they can relate. But yeah, no, I mean, to be a comedian, well, anytime you're a comedian, there's always going to be people that say, why do you say that? Or don't say that. And you have to find your crowd sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. And some people say, if you're a comedian, you should be able to do any crowd. But I think that there's a lot of truth to what you just said.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think if you have a good time as a performer, I've performed for, let's say, young people who may not know who these people are. Oddly enough, there's always one person who does. So you can zero in on that one person. Henny Youngman used to say, always play to that fat lady. There's always a fat lady felt there was always a fat lady in the audience who would be laughing. And so you zero in on that one person. You don't focus on who's not laughing. You focus on the one who is laughing. And by the very nature of it, the laughter will spread. But you can always make fun if you're in a bad situation. And knock wood, I don't think I've very rarely have been where I'm quote unquote bombing. I have an actor's background too. So I started out doing improv comedy. So I'm almost prepared for anything. There's a lot of stand-ups who are really writers, and then they go out and they do their material. And you're in good company, because Woody Allen started like that. Supposedly Woody Allen was terrible as a stand-up in the beginning because he'd read his jokes, and I can think of some people today who are very popular who started out like that. But if you have a little bit of a stage presence, and I would tell somebody who wants to get into stand-up is to take improv classes, at least. If you can't take an acting class, take an improv class, and then you're more comfortable as to things that happen. You have to embrace the unexpected. And if you say, oh, this is not going the way it's supposed to go, you're out of the moment, you're not there. Robert Klein, for instance, I've seen him do stand-up many times, and he will just sort of say, he'll look at something, there's something in the room, oh, look at that kitchen over there, how old is that kid? He'll just say something that's there, and the audience is laughing. Now, there's nothing particularly funny about something that happens to be on the stage or in the ceiling or whatever, but the audience is there, they're in the moment, they see it, and you're relating it to them. When I used to do shows, well, we haven't done one in a while because of the pandemic at the Actors Temple, I'd often say that we're trying to raise money to fix things up, and there was always a panel on the ceiling that was coming down and see, for instance, we'd like to fix that if we can, and sir, I would move if I were you. So a nothing little thing like that, and they would be in hysterics, you know? So you have to be in the moment. It's hard when you're breaking in material. You do trial and error. Sometimes I was doing a bit about talking about a yeshiva, and I was getting to the punchline, but setting it up, I said, you know what a yeshiva is? It's a Jewish Catholic school. And then I would go into it. Well, you laugh. Now, that wasn't the joke. I was heading to, where was I going with that? I would say, but I wasn't very good at learning Hebrew. To me, it all looked backwards. I think I'm Yitzhak. That was the joke. But I would get a big laugh on the Jewish Catholic school. You don't know that until you go in front of an audience, you know? So you kind of cherry pick after you've performed what works, what doesn't. You have to go out there as a fledgling stand-up and try everything. And you have to fail to know what's a success, you know? As an actor, I'm doing this play called The Stella downtown. You can find more information on my Facebook page about it. The Stella, it's downtown. I'm doing it in the middle of October 11th, 13th, and 16th. I got a lot of lines. It's like a David Mamet comedy. I'm a lawyer, personal injury lawyer. So I'm a real scumbag, you know. So I've got long speeches, pages, things I have to remember, legalese and things. And at some point you think, oh God, I'm not going to learn this. There's no way. And then something happens and it just sort of clicks because the repetition of it. It's the same thing with stand-up, I think. You keep doing it and somehow what seems like, oh, I can't do this. It's never going to work. It's never going to happen. And then click. And you just got to put in the time.
Wow. That's super encouraging for people to hear. Tonight, I'm going to be on a show, and it's for people who are 420 friendly. They're going to be partaking in 420 substances.
What's 420?
Marijuana, Mary Jane.
Oh, okay.
Dope, organic from the earth. So what would be your advice to me? Just do my set, or do I've never.
They're all high anyway. I wouldn't worry about it. They'll be laughing between the jokes, I think. So I can't tell you. I don't know why that would be a problem. I think that would be very easy to do.
Oh, good. That's a good way to look at it. What's been your favorite thing in acting and in improv and in comedy that you've done?
Hard to say what's favorite. Um, it's usually what I'm doing at the time. Um, I'd be very hard pressed to. I mean, there are particular shows where there was a moment or an ad lib that stood out. It could be somebody laughing in the audience, and you say "Thanks, Mom," and people laugh at that. Or somebody's phone rings, and you say, "Oh, that's my agent calling. Tell her I'll call her back." Something as simple as things that happen in the moment that's a surprise. I was in a play. Well, this is kind of funny. I was in a play where it was at the Flat Rock Playhouse that's in Flat Rock, North Carolina. And it was summer stock. Summer stock is a very important tool if you want to be an actor. You often do. I did a couple of different plays that summer, and it's nice to be in an ensemble. And you usually don't, for the Stella, we've been rehearsing. Well, we rehearse a few hours every few days, or sometimes 3 or 4 days a week. But in summer stock, you're like rehearsing 8 to 12 hours a day, and you got to learn a play in 2 weeks, and it's boot camp, And but anyway, I'm doing this play. Now the theater is in a barn. A lot of summer stock theaters are barns turned into theaters. So one day we're doing a show, and it's a farce comedy called Running in the Red, and something's off. It's not us. The audience is not reacting right, or they're distracted. You can't quite figure it out. And the stage manager says there's a bat in the house. And that happens sometimes in the country. A bat will be flying around, and they see the bat, and it distracts them, So at some point, we're in the scene, and the phone rings, and the bat went in front of a light, and you can see the shadow of the bat
Oh my
on the
God.
wall. So the phone rings, and I just add the hurry up, answer. It's Batman. and the whole place just fell apart, and the actors were cracking up, and we had to take a long pause and then continue to play. And the stage manager, of course, said to me, "Bob, don't do that again." Although hopefully the bat will never reappear, but I understand why you did that. But don't do that again. It's like I was doing Shakespeare. What was the play? I think it was The Merry Wives of Windsor. The Merry Wives of Windsor, which they had a production of it at the Delacorte just recently, very good production. And I played Master Page. And there's one scene where my wife says to me, "You'll come to dinner, George." It's in the text. And then they exeunt, if you look at the folio. And one show, I thought, I don't know why I did this. It's Shakespeare. I don't know why I did this. She says to me, "You'll come to dinner, George." Which doesn't sound very Shakespearean, but it's in the script. Often in Shakespearean plays, they have to exit the stage to bring on other actors. So there's no poetry, just, get the heck out, So she says, "You'll come to dinner, George." And I just ad-lib, "Have I ever missed a meal?" Well, the place went nuts. Of course, the director came up and said, "Bob, you're not supposed to ad-lib in Shakespeare." And I go, I know. He says, "But if you do, try to do it in a Shakespearean." So just for fun, the next performance, I said, "Have I ever failed to sup?" Which was funny to us. I don't know if it was as funny to the audience as "Have I ever missed a meal?" You know what I mean? But the director said, "Well, that's close. You still shouldn't have lived in Shakespeare." So.
Ah, that's great. When I was looking at your photos, I gotta say, I think the world of James Carrey, and you were on Saturday Night Live. Can we please open that up and talk about that?
Right. I had done several digital shorts, little film things that they do on SNL in different capacities. And so the casting director, who unfortunately is no longer with them, I don't know where he is. His name was Matt McHugh. He liked me. And they had a a gag they wanted to do in the opening monologue with Jim Carrey. It was January 8th, 2011. We did the show live, and we were approaching the Mayan calendar says that at the 2012 the world was supposed to end, right? Everything was supposed to be an apocalypse. So the thrust of the monologue, written by John Mulaney and Colin Jost, they wrote this monologue. I actually worked with them on that.
Wow.
They gave me some direction. So anyway, Colin Jost and John Mulaney, right? They wrote that monologue. The thrust was that it's the end of the world. I'm going to do what I want to do and say what I want to say. And this is Jim Carrey, doing this. So, and my part was that he was supposed to say, and I was supposed to say, he's supposed to say, for instance, I'm going to say whatever is on my mind. Like, for instance, right now, I'm looking at a pair of beautiful breasts. And then it cut to a close-up of me. And I said, thank you, Jim. Like this. Actually, they gave me to really pump it up. That was Colin and John's thing. I think I added the thumb, but they really wanted it pumped up. And that was supposed to be it. When I was waiting to go on, very funny. We did a dress rehearsal. Now on Saturday Night Live, they do a dress rehearsal at 8 o'clock or 8:30, which is it has to be 8 o'clock, which is a 2-hour show. And they determine with an audience, and they determine afterwards what stays and what goes for the 11:30, p.m. live broadcast. So I was waiting to go on for my 11:30 show, and I was actually worried because sometimes they cut things. They just tell you that's cut. So they come running up to me, Mulaney, and Just, and so oh shit, cut it. Bob, Jim's going to say thank you, sir, and then you're going to say thank you, Jim, which kind of gives him the laugh before you see me, which we can debate the profit of that. But anyway, so what ended up happening, he says, thank you, sir, which got a laugh. And then I said, thank you, Jim, but I was drowned out by the laugh. So I took a beat and then repeated the lines. I actually say, thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. So actually that's on camera. And what happens at the end of the monologue is he proposes to a woman in the audience and brings her up on stage and says, we're going to go backstage and, consummate this union, blah, blah, blah. We'll see you later. That was the thing. And they do it at the dress rehearsal. He picks like the best girl you can find at the dress rehearsal, a real audience member. I was a planner. I was at rehearsal. I'm getting paid. They wanted a real person for this shtick at the end. So he finds the perfect person. It goes great, no problem. 11:30, live TV. He goes and approaches this woman. Her name is Mindy. She says her name. She plays along up to a point, and so says, Mindy, will you marry me? And she then shows her wedding ring. She's already married, right? And so he goes, oh, that's okay. Come on. And she's going, no. She does not want to get out of a chair. She was willing to play in her chair, but she wasn't going to get up, And she shows the wedding ring again, So he says, oh, well, and now we're a little lost here. And you see Jim's eyes going like this, He goes, well, that doesn't matter. And he tries to take off a wedding ring. And I'm sitting there going, you don't take off a woman's wedding ring. Oh my God. And this is live TV. So I start waving at him. Now, I had no idea what I wanted him to do with me or anything, but I just waved that I'm here, because that went back to my improv training. If you're in a scene and it's dying, and you want to help somebody out, you wave. You have no idea what you're going to do, but you could come in and help the scene. So I just raised my hand. I'm off camera. The audience doesn't see. Well, people around me probably saw me raise my hand, but you, the audience. So you actually see while he's talking to her, his eyes go like this to me, and then he says, all right, Mindy, forget about it. Come on, dude. He grabs my hand and pulls me out of the audience. Says, what's your name? Says, Bob. Says, Bob. Says, meet Bob. Will you marry me? I said, yes, Jim. Whatever I say. Is meet Bob, my new life partner. Men couldn't get married in 2011, and so he puts his arm around, and then I say to him, should I pick you up? I figured he couldn't pick me up. He was picking up the girl, at the restaurant. He says, no, let's just wait. We're like talking to each other. And he has his arm around me, we're doing like this. And it was a really great moment. And he says to me, thank you, man. You saved my ass. And he's like, he's like shaking my hand and patting me. And they literally pulled him off me to change his clothes. And as he's going off the stage, they're tearing off, I guess everything had a seam because he has to go into another costume. They're pulling his outfit apart and pulling literally off me as well. And the stage manager, I forget his name, God, I should remember his name. He said, ladies and gentlemen, Bob Greenberg, and everyone applauded. But I don't know if the audience knew that this was not planned, but the crew did, So I took a bow from the stage. And as I came down, the crew were high-fiving me and thanking me and all that stuff. So that, I guess, would probably be my greatest moment, because that was pretty amazing to be on that stage and to do improv on Saturday Night Live. And sometime later, I was doing something else. And I think was Bobby. What's Bobby's last name? Moynihan. He said to me, that clip was shown to another host because as the only time they ever did a real, improv on SNL, they don't normally do that. And so they were trying to do something similar to that, but with a real person. But of course, I was an actor, but that was a real improv moment. So he said it's kind of a famous scene within the SNL circle. So pretty exciting. I'd love to see, I assume they save or they archive the dress rehearsal. I like to see the dress rehearsal just to have the two compared, you know what I mean? Yes. But it was a real nice moment.
Has Jim Carrey contacted you since?
I have not seen him. He doesn't write, doesn't call. No, I should sue him. Probably owes me alimony. I have not seen him. I had a great idea, but I couldn't reach anybody and I was a little shy about it. I thought it would have been funny at the end of the show if they could have found a wedding dress to fit me at the bows, so I could have came out in a wedding dress. But, I didn't want to, you do these things, you don't want to make too much of a, they literally at SNL, it's very intense. When they're done with something, even like in my situation where I saved the day, they want you out. It's on to the next thing, you know what I mean? And that's true in show business. You'll work a day on a movie or a TV show. And Law and Order, you mentioned, that was one of my earliest credits, right? Law and Order, they couldn't have been nicer. The director was Ed Sheeran, not the musician, singer, but Ed Sheeran, married to Jane Alexander at the time. I think Ed passed away, but anyway. So he was beautiful. We had a great time shooting this thing for Law and Order. And I had a little, dressing room. When I say dressing room, it's a trailer. You have little compartments. You've seen that on the street. So I have my little bed, my little toilet, and it says Bob Greenberg on it and everything. And they couldn't have been nicer. And they wrapped the scene. And I swear to God, as soon as I close that door, they're banging on the door. They want my outfit. They want me to sign the paper. They want me out of this. I mean, they want you because what was happening was this actor, and I know this actor, Ralph Buckley was his name. I'll tell you why I remember his name. He was coming in to do the next setup for this scene. And as I'm leaving my little trailer, I step out and I turn around just to look one more time. Oh, I forgot to mention, my name was on it, Bob Greenberg, in a little nameplate, Bob Greenberg. So as I step out, I thought, I'll take one more look at my name on the trailer. It was probably maybe my first TV show, big TV show anyway. And as I turn around, a PA, production assistant, is pulling out my name and putting in Ralph Buckley. He sees me and he pulls Ralph Buckley out and puts my name back in. And he waves to me, I waved to him. And it was, he was sensitive enough to realize I was looking back to see my name. He didn't, so, but this was not a permanent thing. This was temporary. the star for the day till 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whatever it was. Then I was off. So it's a little jarring, you know. It's that's something.
Yes, and that keeps you humble.
Yes, I guess you could say that. Well, it's hard, you know, as an actor, and I do a lot of character parts and what's called day player, where you just have one or two scenes or one scene, and you've got a cast in a TV show, and they're all working together. And they have shorthand or a feature film, and then you show up one day to do something. And there was a film I did called Heartbreak Hospital. It starred Patricia Clarkson and John Shea. John Shea was on Lois and Clark and other things, John Shea. And I remember John Shea's very much because I walked into where we were having lunch in the commissary or whatever, and I'm dressed as a security guard. There's a couple of scenes I had with Patricia Clarkson as the security guard. It was like a soap opera. She was like a soap opera fanatic, and she kept thinking the characters on the show were real, and she kept trying to come in to help somebody, and I kept telling her to leave, you know, whatever. You know, that was basically, and you know, in a movie like this, you know, you basically shoot all these scenes one after the other, you know, but the scenes are spread out for the movie. So I come into the lunchroom, and I don't know anybody, and I'm just sort of this look, you know. And John Shea is sitting at this big table with Patricia and other people. And he said, welcome to Heartbreak Hospital. What's your name? I go, I'm Bob. He says, are you with us? You're obviously with us today, Bob. You can see I'm wearing. Yes, I am. So, welcome, sit down. And that was the nicest thing, because often you show up, you sit down, you don't know anybody, they give you food, you sit, you talk, you know, until somebody talks to you. And I recognized him from TV and stuff, and to welcome me like that was very memorable and sweet.
That's awesome. Who are some of the people that you looked up to that you've gotten to meet in New York?
Gilbert Gottfried.
Yes.
Robert Klein. Well, Jim Carrey, I got to mention him, although he doesn't call, he doesn't write.
Ghosted you.
Yes. He's on to other things. You know, when I was younger, I was very shy, even though I was in this business, and I had something to do with Michael Caine, I remember. Michael Caine, I wish I would have talked to him. I mean, now I would, you know, I was after, I mean, this is the beginning of my career. 10 years later or 15 years later, I'm a little braver, you know, and now 20 years later, much braver. But at that time, you know, I'm standing right next to Michael Caine in this movie. It's called, was it A Shock to the System? I think it was called. And I'm not even acting in this movie. I'm what they call a stand-in. There's another person in the scene. And it's a person, it's a homeless person that he shoves onto the train tracks. And I remember when I got the call, I said, well, am I gonna have to fall into the train track? And he said, no, you're just standing in for this person. Now, Michael Caine, big star Michael Caine, he must have had a stand-in himself, but he didn't want to use the stand-in. I don't know where the stand-in was. So he stood in for himself, and I stood in for this day player, who I eventually saw him, and Caine smoking these big cigars, you know, fan of cigars. And I don't know, you know, I don't know if I should talk to him, and I'm like right next to him. And I think he said hello, and I'm thinking maybe he's running a lot. I don't, you know, and I think now I should have chatted him up, because then when some people did speak to him, he was very open, you know, but I was shy, you know, So, but that happens. I remember the first time I've spoken to Robert De Niro several times, because I worked on The Comedian. There's a scene at the Friars Club and in the Friars roast, and you see me in it. They wanted real friars for that. But before that, I was introduced, Jeffrey Ross at the Friars Club introduced me to Robert De Niro, and he goes, Bob Greenberg, look, it's Robert De Niro. Say hello to Robert De Niro. And I looked at Robert De Niro, and I just froze, you know, like I just was in awe. And he looks at me, and he doesn't extend his hand. I don't extend my hand. We kind of stare at each other and don't say anything. And then it moves on. And then afterwards, I went on Facebook and said, I can't believe I missed this opportunity. Yeah, Jeffrey. And then I'm getting messages from people. They're posting it in the comments. Oh, same thing happened to me. I was showing Robert De Niro some apartment in Tribeca or some space, and you just get in awe. And he's very shy. Other people are saying he is very shy. So he's not one to say, "Hey, how are you?" Nice. He's also like that. So it's awkward. But I found out later on when I say, "Hey, how are you, Bob?" and you go, "Hi, I'm fine." He will embrace that. He will echo that. But he's not the first one to say, "How are you? Good to see you." You know, it's interesting, right?
Well, yeah, it is. It's very interesting.
But I remember that. I'm glad I had the do-over of actually talking to him.
You did?
Mm-hmm. A few years later.
And how did that go?
Okay, I mean, we didn't talk much about anything except, I was on the set with him at this. It was actually after the first screening of The Comedian. On the set, I don't think. Well, I was right next to him. Well, I think I said, "No, well, we talked a little bit. Good to see you, Bob. Are you a Friar?" He said, "Yeah, I'm a Friar, man." So, "You're a Friar?" "Yeah, I'm a Friar too." Nothing. How's it going? "It's going okay. How you doing?"
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were in the scene together.
So I was in New York City in the 90s. I lived there for a year in Brooklyn, and I was posting some bills because I was doing dog walking, and I was walking my beagle up through the Upper East Side, and a beagle will pull you. He has very strong muscles, and my dog pulled me up to a couple in the Upper East Side, and it was Robert De Niro. My dog bum rushed Robert De Niro.
I worked on a Woody Allen movie, and it's called The Curse of the Jade Scorpion. You can see me in that movie. And I was very shy around Woody. I was. But one time, I'm with my daughter and my wife and my sister and a few other people. We're walking along. It was on the other side. Maybe it was Fifth Avenue, the other side of Central Park. And my daughter was in a stroller. And this Asian woman says, "Oh, look at the cute kid." She starts talking to Isabel, my daughter. She's small. She's in a stroller. She says, "Oh, thank you." Her name's Isabel. And there's a man with a floppy hat and glasses next to her. And it's not uncommon in New York City, especially on the Upper East Side, to find, sort of an older Jewish man and an Asian woman. That seemed to have been the craze a few years back. You know what I'm talking about? You see these couples of the Asian woman and I don't know if that's still a thing, but I don't know what's up with that. Mail order brides. I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, not for me to say. God bless them. So anyway, I'm not thinking anything. And then at some point, and he's saying, "Oh," and I hear the voice, and I look, and it's Woody Allen. And so, we had sort of this non-pro little chat, But I hadn't worked with him, I think, at that point. I think he would have noticed. We would have had a little more conversation because I did work on that Curse of the Jade Star. He stared at me. He stares at me. He's a starer. That's the thing with him on the set. It's very quiet, like De Niro, and he stares at people, and then he talks to the first AD. That's the first assistant director. He's the one who talks to you.
Wow. Well,
he's a quiet man. I got to watch Woody Allen though in several takes. Improvise or change a phrase each take, and then he would be a little giddy and laugh about it. I think that was good, or maybe I could try something different. And it was fun to see him in that moment, But off camera, very serious.
I loved the Woody Allen when he was brand new, first on Carson, and he was so nervous and he was so raw. And just new at comedy and nervous, and it was just pure Woody Allen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, he, things change. He makes so many movies. He writes so much. He's like a factory.
He's a genius.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, who else have you met that you'd like to reminisce about? Because I want to hear some other people you bumped up against in stories.
I'm trying to think for a second. Well, there was J-Lo. I worked with J-Lo a couple of times. The first time was a Diet Coke commercial, and I played it didn't run much. I wish it did. It ran during the Oscars, and then that was it. I didn't make much money on that one. They show it like under 14 or 15 times. You just make the day's pay and that's it. That's the contract. Anyway, I basically am serving her food. It was like, you see her on, it starts off like an action scene, and then the director yells cut, and she goes to the craft services. I'm the chef. I'm giving her, giving her something. And when we were doing the takes, the director asked me to, just chat her up, because he wanted a reaction from her. So I got her laughing and chatting, and then we did I take a picture with her? Yes, I have a picture somewhere of her and myself, and we had a good time. And at that time, J-Lo had come off of, I guess, Selena and a few other. This is her, and her body was different. And the one thing I remember, how do I say this? Her butt, her butt was like,
wow.
It was like a dining room table. I mean, it came out. You could play like five-handed pinochle on her butt. I mean, it came out like this. It was real. And and she's like thin, and she turned around and you see this butt, and I was just blown away by this butt. Now, some years go by, and I'm working in a movie called Made in Manhattan. It's a good thing and a bad. Well, it's a good thing because I get residuals from this movie because it plays a lot.
I love that movie.
I play. You see me very briefly because I had one other scene that got cut, unfortunately. That film went through a lot of, and if you watch the movie, you can feel it. It went through a lot of changes and cuts. It was supposed to be about a lot of different characters, and something happened. They kept Andrew Bregman, I think, was the original author, but it kept getting changed. And if you look at the movie carefully, you kind of see characters that come in, disappear, that kind of thing. So one of my scenes involved somebody else that got cut from the thing, and so I got cut. But the thing you see me doing, it's on the security camera. There's a naked guy trying to get into his room, and she says, "That's my lactose intolerant guy. His wife is always locking him out of the room because he clogs up the toilet. Send a bathrobe to him or whatever." And that's me, naked. I got double pay to show my butt naked. Now, if you watch the scene on, for instance, I guess on Channel 5, they do a thing where they zoom in and you don't see the butt crack. It's a little blurry. You think, oh, this was shot badly. But my daughter had seen the scene several times. She was small or whatever. But then one day, she saw it on FX. FX is not like Channel 5. So they showed the widescreen and they showed everything. And I'm on the phone. I was doing a gig or something. Dad, you seen it Made in Manhattan? Because she, loves to see that I'm in the movie. She said, "Oh, Dad, I see your crack. I see your crack." And so, yeah, you can see my crack if it's on certain cable channels. But so I have this scene. So and J-Lo now, while we're shooting this, her body changed. She had a assectomy or something, or I don't know what happened, but it wasn't like this. She may have lost weight. I think she might have put on a little weight when she did Selena, because the first time I worked with her was post Selena. Well, she was just a little, had more baby fat, as we used to say when she was younger.
She used to be real frumpy.
You think she was frumpy? I think she just had a little more meat on her. And then the years went by and she got more toned and muscular. And definitely her butt was not like it was when I first worked with her. So I could see, I checked out her butt. It wasn't hard to, because she had at that point, she wasn't J-Lo yet, but on her pants that she wore, her sweatpants or work pants, it said J-Lo. She was putting out and her initials were on it, J-L-O, little O. So capital J, capital L-O. So I noticed that, and I remember thinking, oh, her butt got smaller, whatever. And so I did this scene, and Ray Fiennes' face, which was on the cover of the New York Post, was on my penis. I don't know what that means, but yeah, I was covering my penis with it was very funny. They got me a Speedo. They give you, I think it's called a Speedo. They got me something to wear to kind of have a skin look, to cover everything. And it didn't look good, and it was uncomfortable. And they closed the set so I could be really naked for the thing. They actually cleared the set. And J-Lo was the producer, so she got to see the scene. She didn't see my penis, I don't think, but I had a handler with a robe who was constantly covering me, just come out like I was Elvis or something, or Liberace, come with the thing. And so it was shot very sensitively, and I made good money, and I still get these little checks, in the mail from Made in Manhattan. So, but you have to know that I'm in the thing, because the other scene that I had was where she's walking around, she's training somebody. You see her in some scenes, this Italian girl, and she's saying, "Oh, that's my lactose guy." She's like running the Waldorf, and she knows all the guests. And then when she refers to me while she's showing her the floor, there's a scene with a Hispanic busboy or waiter, and I'm asking him, I'm in a bathrobe. She mentions early in the film, and that's in the film, final cut. I'll send a robe up to him. I'm wearing the robe. And I say to him, was there any milk in that tomato soup that I guess we assume was served to me earlier? And he says, no, I remember his line reading, no milk cream. And I say, cream, that's a dairy product. So I guess I was supposed to get the soup without the dairy in it because I was lactose intolerant. But you don't see that in the final film. That was my big line of two. It was not very important to the rest of the thing. But there was supposed to be these other stories about the people, and they all got referenced very briefly by, was it Natasha Richardson? Was she in the movie?
I don't know.
I think whoever played her boss.
Yeah.
Actually said, well, room 6A has the guy who's cheating on his wife. Room 12B has the guy who's always naked. And she does it, and they show you these little like clips of things. Well, these are supposed to be like running stories through the movie. As a matter of fact, they took my measurements because the last scene, or one of the last scenes, for a tux, I was supposed to wear a tux. They were supposed to have a scene where she comes down the stairs like Cinderella, and all the people that she talks about in the movie, like me, her lactose guy, we're all supposed to be in evening attire, tuxes and gowns. Said, you see us, like this is, like a Cinderella kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they had me on hold for these days, kept securing it, and then they said that they weren't going to do it, and they didn't do that scene. So the film went through all these changes. So that's how movies are, even big budget movies,
Absolutely. What's a movie you have not done, a type of movie, a certain kind of movie that you would love to do that you haven't done?
Oh, that I haven't done?
Yeah.
Well, I would love to work with Larry David and Mel Brooks. I would love to work with, I didn't really do much with Woody Allen, just a little this and a little that. I'd like to do more with Woody Allen, but Mel Brooks, I think I would have a lot of fun with, and Larry David too.
What about, are you a fan of Steve Martin and Martin Short?
Oh yes, I would love to do that show. As a matter of fact, it's funny you mentioned that. I was just watching the latest episode of their, was it Murders in the Building? And I know the guy who plays the doorman, Teddy, and I was watching it, and oh God, I wish Teddy's great. I would have loved that part, that's like my kind of part, So I would love to work with them. I did kind of work with Martin Short. Martin Short and Maya Rudolph did a summer thing, and I had a bit in one of the shows, and I saw Martin Short, and he said hello to me because Alan Zweibel at the Friars Club introduced us once. We both share the same birthday, except he's 10 years older than me. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that. And he saw me on the set, and he said hello to me, like, he remembered me, which was nice. But it was TV, and things move fast. You don't have much time to chit chat. You got to work, But Maya Rudolph and I do a little staring thing, and it was a cute little bit that we did together. So, but mainly I was with Maya Rudolph. But he was connected. He had something to do in the scene, but it wasn't with me. So yeah, I'd love to really work with him. Maya Rudolph was great. She laughed at what I did, and she was very complimentary, and I like working with her. Yeah.
I like Maya Rudolph. She's somebody who you can see and you want to know more and more and more about her. You can never get enough of her.
Yeah, she has a good time. I do believe that performers who enjoy doing what they're doing, like Martin Short, you embrace that and you enjoy seeing that. And it's hard because, especially if you're acting, you've got to learn lines, you've got to focus. But at some point, you have to just give yourself up to everything that's going on and have a good time and breathe, and relax, and be in the moment. And the audience senses that. You can always tell an actor who's very, and sometimes it happens. You might see a play in the previews, and when something's in the previews, it's not all locked in yet, and the person's kind of thinking about what they're going to say and do, and they have to get to the point where they're so loose that they can say it this way, that way. They can say it with 104 temperature. You know what I mean? And that takes time. So but guys like Martin Short, I think they're quick studies and they just have a blast. And if they screw up, they make it up.
You know what? I have to say that. Okay, so I watch Martin Short, especially when he does Jiminy Glick, and he's an interviewer and he's messing it up on purpose. It's so hysterical. And I am a big eye person. Eye contact is everything, and I can see the ocean in people's eyes. And I would love to, this isn't a pitch, I'm just saying, I would love to interview Martin Short, because in his eyes, there's something so special. And I think it is, where does his passion come from? He is you can see in his eyes, he's so passionate to make people laugh more than anybody else.
Yeah, he's a bit of a, I've been accused of this too by no one, I've been accused by no one more famous in the, maybe you don't know the name, David Scheiner. He's a clown. David Scheiner and Bill Irwin did Full Moon on Broadway, and he's done. David Scheiner is a very, very famous clown, and I did a clown class with him, and I was in one of his shows, and he said to me in some of the scenes that we improv that I was a black hole, and what he means by that, whatever I was doing, the audience, all the attention went to me, because whatever I was stealing the scene, you had to look at me. And I think Martin Short, maybe because we're both born on March 26th, has that too. He even, I see when he's working even in his TV show, he does something that makes you look at him. I don't know if you saw the episode last night that I guess every Tuesday it's a new episode of Murders in the Building. I think so. Anyway, I caught the new one. We caught the new one last night. And he and somebody else has to run. I'm not spoiling anything. And the way he's running, he doesn't just run. It's like, and I said to my wife, when does he turn it off? You know what I mean? The character's a little flamboyant, but come on, just go over to the side. He has to get the little thing. So he's a bit of a black hole, but you enjoy it. I see it on talk shows and things like that as well. Thing is, it's interesting because Steve Martin, I think, he's opposite. I think Steve Martin's very serious. I think he's very structured, and they're an interesting combination. Although I'll notice sometimes Steve Martin gets a little, what's the word? I won't say not happy, but he gets a little judgmental or critical of what's going on if he doesn't think it's the way it should be. Whereas Martin Short in these interviews everything is fine. And you know what I mean? And what was it? I think it may have been Stephen Colbert that I don't know what happened, because Colbert edits his show and just kept saying, "Oh, we'll just cut it in. We'll just cut it. We'll just cut that in the edit." He's like, maybe there was something he said, or he liked something, and they were going to change it. And Steve Martin made that he wasn't happy about it. But Martin Short was very happy. Went with the flow, and it's interesting. So they're an interesting combination. They love working together.
Yeah, they are interesting to watch together. And I've noticed that when Steve Martin's been on stage by himself,
Mhm.
you just notice Steve Martin.
Right.
But when you contrast him to Martin Short kind of steals the scenes.
Yeah, he's a ham. I think Steve Martin likes that now. I think he feels comfortable. In a way, Martin stands out by the fact that he's not doing that.
Yeah.
But they obviously have a great relationship, and he knows Steve Martin's a big Laurel and Hardy fan. He talks about Laurel and Hardy in his autobiography, and so he probably sees that the yin and yang, the contrast of it is a good thing, and you need that contrast to make it an interest. If they were both the same, it would be, two Martin Shorts.
They're kind of like a modern day Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis.
Almost, yeah, something like that, or an Abbott and Costello, or a Laurel and Hardy to some degree, with Martin being more of the Oliver Hardy one. But yeah, I guess you have to have a little contrast. So his, Martin's pulling back, kind of being more, grounded, compliments Martin Short and vice versa. Although, I recall, I saw him live do the wild and crazy guy things. He can do that thing, but he was always very structured when he did that. He never deviated from the shtick he did. It wasn't like he was really wild and crazy. He was structured in that ridiculousness. Yeah.
And we're just noticing now, in comparison to Martin Short, how structured Steve Martin has been, where before we all thought that was in the moment craziness, and we're going, wait a minute, no.
Well rehearsed.
Yeah.
That's why I think he went away from it. You remember at some point he said he can't do this anymore. I think because it had gotten so locked in that it may not have been that interesting to him.
Yeah.
It's like being in a play for 20 years, or well, maybe less, but you know what I mean. It's like it's locked in, and there's always these actors who say, "Oh, I'm making a speech, and I'm thinking about what I'm going to have for dinner, or I'm thinking about my laundry list, everything get back to the line." You're saying this, to be a not to be thing, and at that point, you're not there. You're not there, but obviously you've done it enough times, and mechanically you're conveying that you're there. But for the actor, it gets dull. Who complained about that? Oh, Alan Alda, not Alan Alda. I love Alan Alda. No, Alan Arkin did not like the repetition. He was on Broadway. He did not like the repetition of that. He prefers more of an improv base and a looser thing, and that's why he goes out of his way to do independent films and the Kaminsky method, which I you can see that he's kind of riffing every so often, and he prefers that. But he does not like, after a while, he says he gets very bored with doing the same thing over and over again. But that's what an actor's supposed to do, is to do it over and over again, but make it happening because the audience has never seen it, so it's new to them. So you have to make it fresh for them. So everyone has their own way of doing that. But that's the art. If you're acting, or in stand-up too, if you say something a certain way, you take that pause and then you say that, and you look this way, you'll get a bigger laugh. So you constantly do that. But I guess it would get annoying if you did it, 8 times a week. You get a little tired.
Yes. And some people are more prone to, disliking repetition, where others, they're comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You do impersonations, impressions. I don't know which it is. You do a lot of characters.
Well, I do. I think I do. Who do I do? I do Hitchcock. I do Laurel and Hardy. I do Gleason. I do Lou Costello. Is that it? Oh, I do Curly. Did I say Gleason? Yeah. I don't do that many. People think of me as an impressionist. I mean, occasionally, I'll do. Used to do John Candy and things like that. And I did Tom Bosley used to. Nobody knows Tom Bosley.
I
I
do.
did. Okay, so I used to do a Tom Bosley thing, but yeah, not that. So yeah, I've got my handful of impressions. But when I do impressions, see some impressionists, they just do the voice and the look. I do like a scene when I do Lou Costello. He's at the John Gotti trial. I do Curly, the Three Stooges. He's the captain on the Titanic. It's a scene. You know what I mean? It's a fish out of water. It always works. Because
Got it. What do you get booked to do the most often? What do people request?
Or when I do stand up.
Yeah.
Well, they like the impressions. I've done corporate events where they've had me done blah 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 blah, but where they had me. I'm out of agua. They had me do Laurel and Hardy, and I have a partner who I do Laurel and Hardy with, or Jackie Gleason, and I have shtick that I can do as Jackie Gleason. So on the corporate front, that's very popular. I've also done the Three Stooges with two other actors for corporations. When I do stand up, the bookers usually want me to do my impressions. I'm happy to do it. I've got hats, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Save me! No, all that stuff.
Oh my God.
I won a Alfred Hitchcock lookalike contest once.
No way.
Yeah, most people wouldn't brag they look like Alfred Hitchcock, but I was on Broadway. I did my. I lost my thing here. Hold on. I can do it. Let me see if I can hold this on and do it. Because I do this whole thing with my. I'll do my Jewish Alfred Hitchcock for you. Shabbat Shalom. Hard to work with these.
Hilarious. Well, now that we're getting near the end of this particular wonderful time, for me, hopefully for you, what would you like to plug that's coming up? Stella is a play that's going to be performed in New York City when?
It's performing. Let's see. Oh, I can read it this way. There we go. It's performing. The play is going up. It's part of the New York Theater Festival, and it's at the Teatro Latea Theater. That's 107 Suffolk Street, downtown near Delancey. It's October 11th, 13th, and 16th. And if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see it's a picture of me with Jim Carrey, Bob Greenberg, comedian in parentheses. I'm always posting something about the Stella, and I'm doing that. It's a very good play. It's I play this horrible attorney. You'll enjoy it. I'm really not a nice person in this thing. It's very fun, very David Mamet kind of thing. And of course, you can see Tango Shalom, where I play a very sweet man named Yosef, and that's playing in some theaters, and it will become. What's the word? They'll be streaming. They'll be streaming at the end of October. So check your whatever. See when October 29th. I think it streams like the Those are my two plugs right now. I've got some stand up coming up in. I think it's called Catskills on the Hudson with Joey Novick. He's got me doing a show in October. I don't remember the details on that, but I think it's called Does that sound right to you? Catskills on the Hudson. Yeah, I think it's October 23rd. But I'll have that posted on my Facebook page, Bob Greenberg, comedian in parentheses.
Wonderful, awesome. So now let's just cut to a different topic. This is take one of topic number 2. You are heavily involved with a temple, a Jewish temple in New York City that I love so much. Mm-hmm. And I would like you to talk about your involvement and the plight of the Actors Temple in New York City, please. Will you do that for me?
Sure. The Actors Temple is over 100 years old. it wasn't always called the Actors Temple, but it somehow the rabbi embraced the theatrical community. When the temple started out, it was more into the merchants. Well, the water was where all the stuff came in, the boats. It was a whole thing, the piers and everything. And this is Hell's Kitchen where the Actors Temple is. So there were a lot of Jewish merchants who dealt with product coming off the boats and onto the trains and all this stuff. So they were in the area and they wanted a shul, they wanted representation. So they're the ones, these Jewish merchants, who formed the shul over 100 years ago. And then as the years went by and things became less about boats delivering shipments and cargo and things like that, and more trains and more planes, really, that element dissipated. And the rabbi that was there in the late 20s, early 30s realized that there's a Broadway community of Jews that might be involved with the shul, started doing fundraisers for the shul using talent, sometimes a lot of Gentile talent like Louis Armstrong and Jimmy Durante, but predominantly Jewish, Milton Berle, Henny Youngman, Shelley Winters was a member, Edward G. Robertson was a member. So Sophie Tucker was a big member. Anyway, I'm a bigger member. Let's put it that way. So yeah, so it became very actor friendly. They would kind of work services even on Friday to make it more accessible to the Jewish entertainers if they want to hit shul before a performance, things like that. So the rabbi was very conducive, and so eventually it became dubbed the Actors Temple. There's also an Actors Chapel. There's a Catholic church not too far away on 49th Street. We're on 47th Street. We're not connected, but at St. Malachy's, they became what the Actors Temple is to the Jews. They became, what the same thing to the Catholics over there. Oddly enough, the Actors Chapel is opposite the play The Book of Mormon, which I think is just a funny concept. So when my wife and I had to kill time before the Book of Mormon, we went into the Actors Chapel and sat there, and when they ring the bells, they ring in the church, it's no business like so, but that's what the bells of the church is. Hilarious. But so how did I become involved with the Actors Temple? Because I'm on the board. Some years ago, my friend Dave Koenig, who we were both friars at the time, was doing a fundraiser there, and he invited me to perform. And I did a couple of shows there, and then eventually, he decided he didn't want to do the comedy benefit, and so then they asked me to do it. And so I ran the comedy benefit usually in the spring. I don't know, like 10 years or something. And I got some really nice people. I got Pat Cooper, Elaine Boozler, Freddie Roman, Stewie Stone. Some wonderful people came, and nobody got paid. I mean, it was a real gift, a real Hamish thing, a good thing, a mitzvah, as the Irish say, a mitzvah. So we would raise money that way. There were other fundraisers that we would do. We have a congregation, but we don't have enough probably without getting benefit money, the comedy benefit or the other benefits that other people. Carol Ostro does benefits. We all do benefits. Randy Levine Miller used to do a song related, singers, Broadway singers benefit. Without that extra money, we wouldn't be able to continue because in this area, everyone's kind of like a Christmas and Easter Jew. In other words, they go on Rosh Hashanah, they go on Yom Kippur, maybe on Passover, and that's about it. But there's 363 more days, whatever. So we do need those donations and memberships. The temple really speaks to me because on the memorial plaques, there are people that I love, like Smith and Dale, Jack Benny. I was instrumental in getting Joe Franklin up there when he passed away. William B. Williams, the Ritz brothers' grandmother, things like that. And there are pictures all over the walls of celebrities like Henny Youngman and Milton Berle and Eddie Cantor, people who participated. Of course, you see Sophie Tucker up there. Oh, Joe E. Lewis, who was he was a very popular friar, and the movie A Joker is Wild with Frank Sinatra is about his life story. Joe E. Lewis, the friars paid for an entire paint for him in his memoriam, whatever. So it's a very actor-friendly shul, although Rabbi Jill, who's wonderful, we have a female rabbi, runs things almost orthodox, or I guess conservative. I mean, how orthodox can we be with a female rabbi, if you get my drift? But my sister, who goes to the Metropolitan Synagogue, which is very reformed, so reformed they're Catholic, she says, well, this is very orthodox, and well, Joni, I don't think it's orthodox with a female rabbi, but they try to run it. It's a fundamental show. They try to run it as close to an orthodox. These buck teeth, they only cost $1. An orthodox show. So I guess we're conservative, So it's a wonderful place, and hopefully one day soon we'll be able to do another comedy benefit, and that'd be a wonderful thing. I usually do the Purim spiel. Purim is a Jewish holiday, very very akin to Halloween, and the people dress up, and it's the story of Esther, and you do a parody. They do the Megillah. You've heard that expression. There goes the buck teeth again. That expression, like Megillah Gorilla, or the whole Megillah, is a tale of Esther and Haman and the whole biblical story. And then after they do services, they do sort of a parody of it. So I did the Haman is the villain. We did the Haman Mooners. We did a Honeymooners version of the Purim Spiel. We did a Laurel and Hardy meet Haman. We did Abbott and Costello meet Haman. We did, little riffs. I did W.C. Fields and Mae West, a Western thing. So you have fun with that. So we did do a film noir, a Purim Spiel on Zoom, and that was kind of interesting. But we usually do it in person. It's fun to do these things in person, and hopefully that will come back. Currently, they're not really doing full out services right now.
Yes, absolutely. So we can go online and look up the Actors Temple and make donations. And
the Actors Temple, I believe the address is, I think it's 347 West 47th Street. I might be wrong, but it's West 47th Street between 8th and 9th. I think it's 347, but look it up, the Actors Temple.
I love that place, and I love Rabbi Jill.
Yes.
It's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. And one last question before you exit, stage right or left, whichever.
This is stage. This is stage right. This is stage left. But then this is audience left, and this is audience right. Yes.
What's this?
This is heaven up here. These are the cheap seats. No.
Who is that impression you do where he, woo.
Oh, that's Kylie. Yeah. That's what you mean. Sydney.
Oh my God.
I do him as the captain on the SS Titanic. That's what it is. Oh, an icicle. Yeah.
Before we leave, one last parting thought that you get to say, and then I'll say goodbye to everybody. I would like you to say what you'd like to inspire into people coming out of what we've come out of. My sentences are horrible. What would you like to say to inspire people?
Well, to be thankful for what you have, to be thankful if you're healthy, or if you did get sick and you're better now, to be thankful for that. And the most important thing I can tell people is to try to live in the moment. It's hard. Sometimes you think about something that happened 40 years ago or something, and you should have done this and you should have done that. There's no should-haves, there's no would-haves, there's no could-haves. That's past. It's only in your mind. So you have to stay in the moment. And this is the same thing when you're performing, or you're acting. You can't go back. Something happens and you move on. But if you breathe and you stay in the moment and enjoy the moment, it'll be a great moment. And then you'll have another moment and another moment. But so many people, we think about, oh, I should do this and I should do that. And why did she say that? And why did he say that? And you're not, when you're doing that, you're not here, you're somewhere over there, a place that doesn't really exist except in your mind. So my best advice is to stay in the moment, breathe, and be thankful for everything you have.
I love it. Thank you so much for your
Sure.
time and all your insight, your rich history in acting and in improv and in comedy. Bob Greenberg, everybody, get online. Bob Greenberg in parentheses comedian on Facebook. Thank you so much, Bob.
Thank you.
Love you lots.